Jingawala and welcome to Tales of the Tweed. My name is Arabella and I'm here with you every Wednesday morning at 10:30, and we have been travelling through the Aboriginal seasons all of the month of February. This week we were going to cover the season of Kutju, which is the honeybee season. Generally it's the dry season, it's late September to ends early November. Northern wings, of course, turtle fat is happening. Of course, the humpback whales are migrating south. It's time to build up in the wet. The days are very hot and the air is kind of humid. Wattle pods are dry and begin to split open. People search the trunks of bloodwood and bloodwood trees for honey fly wax entrance to its nest. So there's a big bee honey, or the kutju, or the cubby, which is the small bee honey, and it's removed from its nest and then resealed up. If you haven't seen any native bees, there are also native bees currently in the Tweed, and I would recommend people try to harvest native bees, and they require a log on the ground, of course, and you need to get some native bees and you kind of can cultivate them and grow them in the garden. They're stingless as a bee, but what's really interesting about the native bees is it doesn't actually come out until the temperature is at least 19 degrees, so it'll stay in the log until it becomes warmer. So this season is the season in which you see more native bees moving around because the season has changed and it becomes drier and warmer. What's also very interesting to know is that native bees are a really tiny bee in comparison to bees that have been imported. So it means that native bees are looking for really small flowers and small things that they can penetrate to take honey from and move and pollinate. And what's interesting is that unless you have that going on, you obviously risk native plants dying out. And so the larger bees, the imported bees, actually are too large to get any honey out of some of the native species that we have in Australia. So in effect, what they're doing is they're dying out because the bees themselves can't continue the pollination and can't continue to service the plants because they're too large. So sometimes you see a common bee, but that's actually a larger bee is not common to Australia. It might be more familiar, but a native bee is almost a little black bee, and it's really tiny and stingless. And I would recommend people consider having them at home and growing them because we need all the bees that we can get. We need to make sure that native bees are again flourishing in the area. There is a family, the Dillon family, commonberry people, who are the Gold Coast mob. They're a commonberry mob, so they actually all come from mangrove areas. That's where their topography and their name reflects where they're from, like they're river people. And there's a man by the name of Max Dillon, and he actually cultivates native honey and provides native honey to the market. It's absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. It's extremely expensive, but if you ever get the chance to taste some native honey, I also recommend that. So getting back to the kutju and the honeybee season, which is our final season in the 6th calendar. The other observation you should begin to see is in the evening skies, the clouds that come in from over the sea indicate that it's mating time for the turtles, or we call it married turtle time, and that their eggs will soon be found on the beach. So the pingin, which is the turtle, or the Aboriginal word for turtle, nest around Fingal Head, and there's a nursery just off what is known as Cook Island, and it's located on the marine shelf surrounding that. So you'll start to see some activity, lots of activity of turtles. If you're a boating person and get out beyond the heads frequently, you'll start to see a lot more. They begin their mating, and of course historically in the Tweed there used to be a lot of turtles that came up to beach to lay their eggs and hatch their eggs. It doesn't happen so much anymore, but if you're lucky, you can see eggs come onto the beach, or they sometimes still come onto Fingal, not as frequently, and that's something we should all be working towards improving and bring back. But it's really interesting that this cycle, or the EAC that I was talking about previously with the movement of turtles, that turtle cycle goes all the way up to the Great Barrier Reef and then comes back for mating, and then of course turtle egg laying on our beaches. So of course their journey has also been large and significant in the way that they've travelled the whole coastline, obviously with the help of the tide, but of course you then get to understand how Aboriginal groups all along along the eastern seaboard would have ceremonial connections to seeing the turtles as they come in and as they move past their country, and of course follow that tide system. So that kind of completes our sixth season of the Aboriginal 6 seasons of our local area. If you'd like a copy of that, I will post it on the Memphis Mayhem website so that you can print a copy and you can follow the seasons. If you'd like some more information, feel free to get in contact, or you can email currycountry.com. We offer education programs online, which we talk about seasons and Aboriginal information, totemic information, ecological information in greater detail. So if you'd like to sign up for that, please do so as a family. It's really enjoyable. It's great Q&A, lots of videos, really interesting. And of course, we encourage you to go and explore the environment and learn to read it in a different way. There are 2 other programs that we offer as well. One is the Thinker's Circle, which I lead, which is more about the philosophy and the principles behind Aboriginal systems, which is really interesting, particularly for other First Nations people who may be listening from around the world, but of course for people who are interested in that as a subject area. And the third program that we offer, of course, is focused on native foods, great for chefs, great for cooks, great for farm users, and great for people that really want to understand the environment in greater detail. Next month, so that is in the month of March, we're actually going to be covering more about the artesian basins and the waterways that sit underneath our area and how they're connected. So I hope that you continue to enjoy the program and join me every Wednesday morning at 10:30 on 101.3. My name is Arabella and I'm here with Tales of the Tweed, and I'm really excited to be your host, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your questions. If you have any, email them into the station, or if you'd like me to answer a particular question that you have on your heart or on your mind, please let me know. Happy to answer questions or email a question in, and I'm happy to answer it online or on air. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed Tales of the Tweed, Boogle Bear, and I look forward to speaking to you next Wednesday, 10:30 on 101.3 FM.